We go live in 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello and you're welcome to Newspaper Headlines. It's coming to you from Frontline TV. Musa Garba is my name, your host on the program. Today we're going to start off with the Daily Times newspaper. The Daily Times newspaper has the leading stories. Mixed reactions trail Nigeria at 65. Mixed reactions trail Nigeria at 65. And also the bottom part of it, you'll see the big bold green map of Nigeria with the figure 65 attached on it, signifying that yes, Nigeria is 65 years, and also happy independence to Nigeria. And the bottom part of it still also says our critics can say what they like. APC has salvaged Nigeria. This one is coming from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying that our critics can say what they like. APC has salvaged Nigeria. Pension fund assets hit 25.9 trillion naira as 10.8 million workers enroll. That is for the pension fund scheme. And the ICPC arraigns two over 4.8 million naira forgery fake job scam. And also aviation stakeholders decry policy failures, lack of national carrier. All these leading stories are coming from the Daily Times newspaper, and on above it, that's on top of the front page, you see the story from the NMDC chairman, which says poverty rate in Nigerian states above 60%. Poverty rate in northern Nigerian states above 60%. And also, police probes murder of Arise TV reporter Maduwu in Abuja. And then last but not the least, from the Daily Times newspaper, CBN governor launches national lecture series on next generation leadership. All these leading stories are coming from the front of the Nigerian Daily Times newspaper. You can get the full gist when you obtain a full copy. Now moving over to the first daily newspaper for free and enlightened world. First daily newspaper has the leading story, Nigeria at 65. Pray, unite or risk collapse. Can Mark Wom is the one saying that. Clerics, statesmen urge visionary leadership as nation marks independence amidst insecurity and economic strain. Nigeria at 65, pray, unite or risk collapse. And also the picture there in front of the newspaper that we just mentioned, that is the first daily newspaper, is the picture of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, talking about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the commissioning of Assunta Twin Flyover in Owerri, that is in Imo State. And that he is flanked together with the Kaduna State Governor, Senator Obasani, Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau J. Jibrin, and other governors and dignitaries. That is at the commissioning of the Assumpta Twin Flyover in Imo State. Now, power crisis from the topmost part of First Daily newspaper. That is, power crisis looms as Dangote, Pengason's field, cuts 1,100 megawatts. FCT police probe death of Arise TV journalist. NAFDAC withdraws 101 pharmaceutical products from market. And Obasanjo is also saying honest leaders, not miracles, will save Nigeria. Peter Obi demands security emergency after Okeode killings, and then this is coming from APC to PDP. Let Jonathan enjoy retirement. Forget 2027. TUC slams Dangote refinery. Stop putting profit above workers' right. And the last leading story from the first daily newspaper is earnings from ruins, or shall I say, earnings from run girls taxable, declares the federal government. Earnings from run girls taxable, declares the federal government. That's it from that newspaper. Now we're going to move over to the Vanguard newspaper. Great Nigeria, Tinubu's building blocks at 65. That is Nigeria at 65. And also Nigeria 65, the worst is over. We have turned a new corner. This statement is coming from the president, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying all hands should be on deck for nation building. Notes economy on rebound with 4.23% GDP growth, $42 billion reserves, lowest inflation in 3 years. Good governance, Igbo-speaking people from 8 states honor Soludo, Dangote and Pengasson. Darkness looms as electricity generation falls. That's what the Vanguard newspaper is carrying for today. Now moving over to the Nation newspaper. Also, the Nation newspaper is having almost a similar headlines with the Vanguard newspaper, and the leading story from the Nation newspaper is saying Tinubu lists 12 economic milestones, and the same thing that the Vanguard is carrying on its front page. The Nation newspaper is also carrying the same thing. Greater Nigeria, Tinubu's building blocks, talking about the $1 trillion economy target, and regional development, FDI and industrialization, oil production and energy, grassroots development, human capital development, just a few from the front of the Nation newspaper. NSA steps into Dangote Pengasson dispute, and also still from the Nation newspaper, how Lagos Ibadan Rail is redefining commerce. Or where it stands still for Ozudima's book presentation, Wiki, we will hunt down killers of Arise TV reporter. That's the much from the Nation newspaper. You're still watching newspaper headlines coming to you from Frontline TV. Nigerian Tribune is having it. Also the same thing with the previous newspapers, the Greater Nigeria, Tinubu's building blocks, but just few of the headlines that's coming from the front of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper is saying Nigeria now on path to recovery. Tinubu assures as nation turns 65. This is coming from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Nigeria now on path to recovery. Tinubu assures as nation turns 65. I am no longer a politician, Olubadan tells Atiku, El-Rufai and others. Security operatives storm bandits camp in Kwara, kills many. And also, still from that story of Nigeria on the path of recovery, challenges naysayers to review, compare Nigeria's journey since 1960. That's the much from the Nigerian Tribune. Now moving over to the Daily Trust newspaper. The newspaper you can trust, that is the Daily Trust newspaper. The leading story, Nigeria's journey in 65 years. 20 feared dead in Kogi boat mishap. The worst is over, says President Tinubu. Now, the picture on the cover is showing the celebration of Nigeria 65, and that is credited to the IG retired Muhammad Abubakar Adamu CFR, Walin Lafia, Nigeria at 65. Those are just a few leading stories from the Daily Trust newspaper, the newspaper you can trust from the front of it. Now, moving over to The Guardian. The Guardian newspaper is having the leading story, Nigeria 65. Tinubu hails reforms, says worst over, urges unity and optimism. That's coming from the Guardian newspaper. Conscience nurtured by truth. That is the theme of the Guardian newspaper. Now, out of school children endanger Nigeria's security, Obasanjo warns. And then there's another story that says at 65, it's time for Nigeria to reclaim her independence. And also concerns over rising insecurity, abduction in the north central part of Nigeria. It's also carrying the same picture as the previous newspapers. These are just the few leading stories in front of the Guardian newspaper. Now moving over to the Punch newspaper. The Punch newspaper, Nigeria 65 also is having it that the worst is over. Hope rising for Nigeria, says Tinubu. And the president lists 12 economic milestones of reforms, flaunts achievements in education, agriculture, health, and others. He's also carrying the same picture that is in front of the Daily Trust newspaper. Now, those are just a few leading stories, because it's also having the same issue that has to do with the feud between Pengasson and Dangote, because the feud is actually deepening, and then fuel queues resurface as Penderson Dangote field deepens. INEC chair, DSS screens nominees, Council of State to meet. That's
Hello and happy independence to you all. My name is Hebsbeth Joseph, and today we'll be talking about changing the Nigerian mindset from being a consumer to a producer. I want us to reflect on something that affects each of us as Nigerians, the way we consume and the way we produce. We are a blessed nation, but we often neglect that and depend on consuming products that are imported instead of creating and valuing what is ours. Today we'll talk about how we can shift from being just a consumer to a real producer. Firstly, we'll be looking at the reality of consumption. Look around in our markets, our offices, our homes. Everything we use comes from outside the country, from food, clothing, our household appliances, kitchen utensils. This over dependence weakens our economy. It drains our foreign exchange, raises the cost of living, and takes away opportunities for Nigerians who could be producing those products, goods, right here in Nigeria. But here is the truth: a nation that only consumes and doesn't produce can never truly be independent. It will always depend on others for survival. And secondly, the power of producing. Now let's flip the story. Imagine if every Nigerian farmer took farming seriously. We produce enough rice, maize, um potato and the rest, not just for our families or for our personal consumption, but for us to supply to industries. Imagine our young people not just chasing white collar jobs, but learning trades, starting small businesses, and creating digital products that the world pays for. When we produce, we create jobs, we keep money circulating within. Instead of spending, we produce and get money. We get to import to other countries, and they get to depend on us also for products. It's not about the government alone, it's about us, individuals, families, the community choosing to add value. What have you chosen to do to add value to the country? Our mindset on how things are supposed to be done. When we feel the governments are supposed to be the ones taking care of the country, instead of looking at the parts that we also have our parts to play, our rules to play to contribute to the country. Imagine the body cannot work without the leg, the head. Like, it's a collective work. Then thirdly, the mindset shift. The biggest barrier is not resources. We have them here in Nigeria, we have our resources. The biggest barrier is our mindset. What we think about our product, we often believe that the imported products are more important and they are the best, and we feel our Nigerian made our locally made products are not good. We see less of them instead of giving them value. Every time we choose Nigerian products, we are not just buying an item, we are supporting a farmer, a factory worker, a shoemaker, a tailor. We are adding to our society, we are adding to the country, and aiding development in the country, because we are receiving and not we are not just receiving, but we are also giving. So we are adding to the economy of our country. And what can we do to shift from consumption to production? What do you think we can do? What can we do to actually make this not just us being dependent on those foreign countries? Firstly, we have to support our local, buy Nigerian wares, buy Nigerian products anytime you can, anywhere you can. Don't depend on getting just foreign products because you feel those are the best. Our Nigerian means are also good. We have to just put our resources into it to develop our country, invest in skills. Young people should look forward to investing in learning skills, learn new things. We don't depend on collar jobs, we depend on creating. Is actually adding to the country creativity. Farm and process. Don't just farm, process what you farm into finished products. You process it, you farm, process it, package it, make it adds more value to the product. Pay taxes. This helps our government support industry and infrastructures that make production possible. Change the narrative. Speak proudly about Nigerians. Don't speak low of your country. We understand that the condition of the country is not making it look like it's growing or it's going somewhere, but we shouldn't contribute to it by speaking low of it. We should always believe that this country is going somewhere and at its developing process. Nigeria will not change overnight, but if we shift our mindset, we can build a nation that doesn't just consume but produce and strive. The question is not what government will do for us. The real question is, what will you produce? How will you add value to Nigeria? What is that one thing you can do to add to the development of the country? What is that thing that you feel can grow this country? Don't just sit back and feel okay, the government is supposed to do everything. We are also there to add to the value of the country. Thank you for joining me on today's program. Let's remember Nigeria first, Nigeria always. Bye bye and happy independence to you all.
Hello, and you're welcome to Frontline TV. And today we're going to be taking a look at Nigeria at 65 because today is Nigeria's independence, October 1st. So, with that, my name is Musa Calvin, and I'm not alone. I'm together with my friend, my colleague, my sister, and she is
Gladys Meaton.
Gladys Meaton.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
All right, it's good to be here. You're watching Frontline TV. We're going to be giving you some little brief insight that has to do with Nigeria, the journey so far. Because, like I said earlier, today is October 1st. Happy independence once again to all Nigerians. And from wherever you're watching us, you can also as well drop your comments in the comment section, and we'll definitely read it out. So, once again, you're welcome. It's Frontline TV. So today we're looking at Nigeria at 65, the journey so far. Well, we all know that Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa and the sixth most populous in the world. Nigeria features a diverse geography, including coastal plains, rainforest, savannas, and semi-arid zones in the north. And let's not forget that Nigeria, we have different people from different backgrounds. Now, with all the challenges that people have been passing through in Nigeria, let me just permit me to say of recent, Nigeria is still together. We're still one. So there's still unity in diversity. And honestly, I am proud to be in Nigeria. Meetan, I don't know of you.
Yeah, I am. As a noble Nigerian that I am, I'm glad to be a citizen
Of Nigeria.
Exactly.
Well, that's good. But you know, Nigeria is made up of different people, different cultures, different backgrounds.
Yeah.
You understand? And I want to believe that we are more, I think, if my calculation is correct, more than 300 million people in Nigeria.
When we're talking about the giant of Africa, what do you mean?
I like
we're
that.
not.
Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Well, Nigeria is known for its ethnic and cultural diversity, home to over 250 ethnic groups.
Yeah.
And Nigeria's rich culture is expressed through its music, high life, films, literature, traditional festivals, and even fashion. So, Nigeria has one of the largest economies in Africa and heavily reliant on oil and gas exports. The country is a major oil producer. Agriculture, which is another one, employs a large portion of the population, and also services and telecommunications. Not forgetting that in the entertainment industry too, is playing a very vital role in Nigeria, especially Nollywood music and films. Now, however, the country faces challenges, but I'm not going to go into that one for now because I know that Mita, you also have one or two things to say that has to do with Nigeria.
Yeah, of course, I do have things to say about the great Nigeria, not just Nigeria. We have to add the great to it because we're great, you know. So, one thing I'll talk about the spirit of the people as Nigerians, right? What inspired me the most in is the Nigeria spirit. Despite disappointment, after disappointment, the citizens still believe in possibility of a better government, right? And we pray, we demand change, we push for accountability. This shows we've not given up on Nigeria. We hope is powerful, and for 65 years, it has kept this country standing. And also, as Nigerians, right, we were looking ahead for something great, and we know we're definitely going to achieve that some days. And where do we go from here? Nigeria at 65 is still young compared to older nations. The future lies in visionary leadership and active citizens who refuse to settle for less. In the leaders step up and the people stay united, we can truly build the nation, Nigeria, and the dream, the nation where fairness, justice, and opportunity are not just wishes but reality.
And you know, there's also one thing that I love so much about Nigeria, that despite the fact that we've been experiencing quite a lot of hurdles,
Yeah,
we are still together.
Exactly.
There's unity. And another thing about the content creators in Nigeria is that whatever the challenge is, they will always make sure they come up with something comic to calm down the tension.
Exactly.
Now, Nigeria is, like you said earlier, the giant of Africa. And Nigeria has actually come a long way. 65 years, no be joke. So
It's
Nigeria
not.
is actually, we are supposed to be somewhere, high. But somebody asked the question sometimes back that, is Nigeria truly still the giant of Africa? Me, I want to believe that yes, Nigeria is still the giant of Africa. But because of selfish interest, because of religion of politics, should I say politics, a religion taking, another kind of like center stage in everything that these leaders in quotes have always been doing, Nigeria is still a country to be reckoned with, because there are so many things that's embedded in Nigerians. Because if you take a look at it as part of the achievements of Nigeria so far, is that even this issue of Japa, there are Nigerians that are in other countries doing well in their chosen fields, field of profession. You understand? Because if you take a look at the medical aspect, Nigeria, yes, we have qualified professional surgeons based outside the country. It's a plus to us if Nigerians can go out there, and make a difference, and they're still making difference. Well, I think the only problem why they don't want to come back is that the environment has not been conducive. But sometimes back, the leadership of Nigeria said all these people should not come back. But them coming back, my own question personally is that, have they made the environment conducive
for them to come back? Exactly.
If you take a look at education, we have young Nigerians outside this country, or young Nigerians in this country, that have left the country in search of greener pastures. But then, if only, I think those are some of the things that has actually caused Nigeria to move back instead of advancing them more. Because if the environment is conducive, if the take-home pay is good, I don't think many of them will japa out of this country. But Nigeria still stands. You understand? Now, I just want to share a very brief story that has to do with us celebrating Nigeria and even us celebrating ourselves. A prominent Nigeria once was not feeling fine. You understand? So, as Nigerians that we are, at any given opportunity, we kind of like take our people outside the country for treatment and what have you. And before he was taken outside the country, they told him that this thing can only be done by somebody outside Nigeria, not knowing that the same doctor that did the checkup on him and everything, not that he's only in Nigeria, but he's from the same state with the person, a prominent Nigerian. Same state, same local government, same community. You understand? Same community. So that's to tell you that when it comes to issues of medicine, academics, agriculture, we have Nigerians that are top notch. We have Nigerians that can deliver. But have they
We
given
do.
them the chance to
I
deliver?
just feel like the facilities is not there enough for them to achieve it. That's why most people go out to go do those stuff instead of staying here. The facilities are not enough. But that's by the way.
Okay. If that is by the way, we still want to say happy independence to Nigeria.
Of
We're still
course.
celebrating Nigeria. We are Nigerians and we're always going to be proud of being Nigerians. Nigeria is 65. It's no small joke. Now, there are challenges that the country has been facing, and one keeps, wondering why is it that those challenges keep occurring
Over and over.
occurring over and over again. Even when new administrations come on board, those problems still,
Are still there.
they're still there. Now, I just have few of the problems or challenges that Nigeria has been facing as a country. That is what? Poverty and inequality, which is number one. Poverty. Somebody once said he feels poverty is just something that they created to put people, like to make the people just be at their beck and call. You understand? Poverty is a disease.
It is.
I don't know whether you believe that.
It is.
So where do you stand on that, per se?
Well, I don't really have much to say, but I agree with you.
It's a deliberate thing.
It is what people do to make people poor. It's actually a deliberate thing.
And then another thing is high unemployment.
Yeah.
High unemployment. We have the major one that has been there for a very long time that I don't know how they're actually going to do it, which is what? Corruption. Corruption. Somebody once said Nigeria cannot continue or Nigeria cannot go without corruption. But me, I don't believe that.
I do believe that. Even the little ones now are corrupted. Literally all Nigerians are just full of corruption.
Okay, infrastructure deficits, which is true. We have infrastructures that honestly they need a touch of remodeling and renovating or even new ones to be erected. Another one is politics and governance. Now, Nigeria operates a federal system with 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, which is what? Abuja. Its democracy, though young and sometimes very turbulent, and has been developing since the end of military rule in 1999. Now, the president, who is still the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of our dear country, Nigeria, as both head of state and government, national elections are held every 4 years. Now, Nigeria continues to face several internal challenges, and we all know, because if it hasn't affected you in one way, it has definitely affected you in another way, which is what? Insecurity, including terrorism and in the northeast, banditry and other criminal clashes. Well, terrorism in Nigeria, banditry is almost everywhere. So these are still some of the challenges that Nigeria has been battling with as a country that they are yet to overcome. But I believe Nigeria, if they were in quotes serious, remember I said in quotes, if they're serious, Nigeria has all it takes to overcome this issue of banditry and terrorism. They have everything. They have what it takes. We have the best setup when it comes to the army.
So now, but what do you think is hindering them to achieve that?
Politics.
Aside politics.
Politics. Politics. Now, we have weak institutions, over dependency on oil revenue. Nigeria for a very long time has been depending on oil. And technology, the advancement of technology has made things very easy for so many people. You understand? But yet, we are yet to get to that level. You understand? We are yet to get to that level, because if you quote me right, AI is there. AI has been able. They have been able to kind of make things easy for people. But do you know that, funny enough, at this jet age where globalization is taking place, advancement of technology, here and there, Nigeria is still a little bit backward. When it comes to that issue. It's a little bit backward, because if you go to any of these Western countries, you discover that even their children, they have gone far when it comes to the issue of technology. But Nigeria, up till now, I don't know, maybe it's because of their interests. There's some people that have selfish interest.
Yeah, you just
They
feel like you're taking one step forward, two step backward.
no, not even 2 steps backward, 10 steps
Step
backward.
backward.
So it's more or less like it's a deliberate thing that they don't want, excuse me, that they don't want Nigerians to have a fear of what that advanced technology can do to help better their lives. Though in technology, there's the good part, there's the bad part. That it has its own advantage and it has its own disadvantage. So I just pray that Nigerians will see to it that we do everything consciously and deliberately to advance, you understand, and accept the reality of technology. It's here to help us, but still we should be mindful of how we go about using technology. I don't know whether you have other things that you would like to share with us concerning celebrating Nigeria 65.
Well, literally, you've said everything. Everything you said it. Well, I'm just happy Nigeria is 65 today, and it's amazing so far things we've accomplished, regardless of how bad the country could be. Sometimes, we've achieved a lot. We have gone so far, right? Am I correct? We've gone so far. So
Okay,
we
now
as individuals,
I
as well.
mentioned something that has to do with overdependence on oil. What can you actually say about that overdependency on oil?
Well, one thing most people feel is Nigeria is a country that has oil, right? So they feel for the fact that we have it, actually true, we should have more because of that particular thing we have. It's supposed to boost our economy and everything, but we're taking it for granted because of the leadership we have currently. They don't make it in such a way that everybody's going to benefit from it. They're kind of selfish. I don't know if I'm making sense, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, but then Nigeria still at 65 is not an is not.
It's the way you're saying it for me. Well, Nigeria at
But you see, there's another thing again that has been affecting us right from the time of, or shall I say, the introduction of democracy. This issue of power generation, power has been lingering. Why should Nigeria at this point in time be facing stuff like power outage? In those days, I never heard anything that has to do with power glitch. It's just of recent, they have all these their terminologies and stuff like that before. All what we know is that NEPA that we know was always up and doing. And Nigeria, I still believe, gives power to some other countries, you understand? But we that the power comes from us is always K-leg. I don't know why it's always like that. But God will help us. We're still celebrating
Amen.
Nigeria
at 65.
And in case you're watching us, please, why not just say a word of prayer for Nigeria and drop it at the comment section. Then we'll get back to you. Well, we're still together with my colleague talking about Mitan. Mitan, Nigeria is 65. So many challenges, so many hurdles, but we're still together as one. You understand? We're still together as one. And our leaders, what will you concretely say concerning our leaders? Because they're the ones that we voted them into power. We are expecting the best. Let me just use that word, expect. But expectation, as somebody once said, is the mother of all disappointment. But then we expect that being that we are the ones that voted them in, and so many things are actually not in accordance to the promises that they have made. What would you say concerning our leaders?
Well, initially, we saw potential in them before voting them, right? So after voting them and then they get to the spot they end up changing. Corruption enters now. Everybody knows that.
Which we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Corruption has been eating the fabrics of Nigeria for a very long time.
That's like the main thing that has been bothering us. Corruption. Because when we vote somebody and we're also confident about that person to make a change, and all of a sudden after some few years, instead of expecting a good change, we end up seeing something that we don't even know where it's coming from, So I feel corruption is the main thing why we keep going back. Where we're not going where we're supposed to be, we're not, you get.
Well, I want to believe that many people that are watching us will be able to drop their comments, their observations, and most importantly, your prayer for Nigeria, being that we're still celebrating Nigeria at 65. The journey has not been an easy one. You understand? It has not been an easy one. And I feel in the course of Nigeria's democracy and where we have gotten today, the masses' minds, their thinking faculty, everything has been manipulated by, in quotes, some negative forces that has refused them to actually kind of achieve that thing that they want to do. The minds of the masses have been manipulated. They have been forced to think that poverty is actually true. Because if you just take a look at it, we're so rich. In agriculture, we're so rich. In technology, we are coming up. And do you know that in Nigeria, nothing stops Nigerians from buying what they manufacture. You understand? But everything you see, everybody wants to be importing. We're not saying no to it. We cannot stop it. You understand?
But it's something we can do
But
here.
it's something we can do here. Now, take for example, Innocent Motors. Innocent Motors is a car manufacturing company based in Nigeria by a Nigerian for Nigerians. You understand? But you discover that people will still want a situation whereby if me they power now, I would rather go and order cars outside the country rather than for me to be patronizing the ones that are even made in Nigeria. And Innocent Motors, honestly, they are sound, solid, and strong. Why not patronize them? Promote. Why is it that up till now in Nigeria, we find it very difficult to sell out our own? You understand? Patronize our own, encourage our own. We believe so much in the other side. We're not saying no to that, but at least charity begins at home.
We rely so much on the other things than what we produce here.
Yes. But do you have any other thing that you like to add to what we're discussing?
Well, I guess not.
No, you will not guess not. You will continue. Well, don't forget that you have been watching us discussing Nigeria at 65. But the major question that we keep asking is, with all these challenges, the hurdles, and so many heart-touching things, the question still remains, where did we actually get it wrong as a country? If somebody is trying to put something right, you discover that another set of people, their own is just to say that it doesn't work. That's not what we want in Nigeria. Let's try to see the possibilities of reclaiming that slogan of Nigeria being the giant of Africa. Is there still hope for Nigeria?
There is.
Are you sure?
There is hope.
There's
Do you have that hope?
At me? Oh, definitely. I'm a proud Nigerian and I'll continue to be a Nigerian. So well, I don't know about you, but for us here in Frontline TV, we believe that things can get better. If only our people will allow the right thing to be done for the very first time. If the right thing is done, I want to believe there's going to be a change, which means we have a lot to do. Let me just say, our leaders have a lot to do to change the mentality, the mindset of our people, to see that they become the best. Because, like you said, I asked you, you also asked me the same question. Is there hope? Definitely for me, there is hope. It's never too late.
Do you know it's not all about the leaders? Individuals who are involved in
Of course, yes. So of course, yes.
Individuals have their own mistakes. So you have to start from the scratch, from us, before it gets to the leaders. Regardless of them having theirs, we have to start our own to make a change, to make a difference. So we build it in Nigeria, we all dream for.
Then let me ask you a very simple question. How do we start working on our mindsets? You know, in working on and fixing our mindset, let me just say this one very briefly. We need to step out of our comfort zone. We need to step out of our comfort zone. I was like discussing with somebody that's trying to contest for a position very soon in the country, you understand? So he said they're going to come up with an ICT hub for that particular local government, whereby every child will be trained, to have that computer knowledge, which is very true. And that same local government, they have things that if they you understand, they have produce that if they are going to market it well, you understand, it's going to be a boost when it comes to their revenue generation. You understand? So he said they're going to come up with an ICT hub whereby every child must be. Thank you very much. Every child must be. Then I asked him the same question. How do you go about with the people? Because they have not, they have not experienced this kind of thing for a very long time. Well, he said it's better to start than not even starting. So it's better to start somewhere, which I agree with him and I concur with him. And I pray that it will stand the test of time.
It will.
Now, that is not only for the local government, that is not only for the state, but Nigeria in a holistic, scenario. There are things. This issue of women even being relegated to the background, it has not gone down well. You understand? Women are also without them now, there will be no Nigeria. Or should I say, without your gender, there will be no Nigeria. But thank God that your gender, you're always there. We have the productive ones, you understand? So why not give these youths a chance so that they'll be able to play their own cards, they will be able to play their own parts in seeing how well Nigeria will develop. Honestly, I still have hope, and I know that Nigeria is still going to, become great if only our leaders will allow the right thing to be done for the very first time.
Exactly.
You understand? So what's going to be your last word?
Well, my last word is I love you all and I love Nigeria.
All right, there you have it. Nigeria 65. We've talked about Nigeria. We have given a little bit of insight about Nigeria and the challenges that Nigeria has been experiencing. The issue of corruption, the issue of unemployment, the issue of insecurity. All these things have been playing out. We've been seeing them, we've been watching, we've been hearing, we've been witnessing, we've been part of it. And honestly, it has taken Nigeria 10 steps back. But don't worry, I believe change is going to come.
Yeah.
Of recent, even the president said the trials of Nigeria is now over. Better days as from the month of October.
How true is that?
So please don't forget to drop your message or your comments at the comment section. Let's also hear from you, and it can also be a word of prayer for Nigeria, for a better Nigeria. Well, there you have it. Meetan, thank you so much for coming onto the program.
Thank you. You're
But
welcome.
we'll be coming back much more later to give you more insight that has to do with the journey so far that has to do with Nigeria. It's Frontline TV. We've been discussing Nigeria 65, the journey so far. Share your thoughts with us and always watch us and also share your comments with us. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Musa Garba is my name, or should I say Musa Calvin? Still, all two, they're all my names. Until we come your way again next time. Remain blessed and happy independence, Nigeria.
And also, I want to give a shout out to my dad, turning 70 today also.
Wow, so he's older than Nigeria. Nigeria, we were 60. Nigeria as a country is 65, so he's 70. Yeah. All right, happy birthday to him. We wish him more grace and more years ahead. All right, remain blessed. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Bye.